Very good morning, class 10th. So, here we are on our last lecture from the chapter How Do Organisms Reproduce. We have discussed each and every single point which is mentioned, which is required for our examination point of view and which is required for your learning also, right? So today I'm going to talk about, as I told you yesterday also, that today we will talk about the sexually transmitted diseases, because there are the diseases which can be transmitted from the infected person to the healthy person when they are in the sexual contact. So first, the definition for each and every one of you is very important, because sometimes in the board exams they ask you the 5 marks question, and that includes like define sexually transmitted diseases, which is your STDs, right? And then they ask you that give example of 3 sexual transmitted diseases and explain one of them. So I am going to take this question in my today's lecture, right? We will talk about that, what is the definition, we will talk about the different examples, and we will talk about one complete disease in the detail. So first, let's look at the definition. That those diseases which are spread by sexual contact. Just look at its name, sexually transmitted diseases. तो एम बहुत क्लियर है कि दे आर स्प्रेडिंग बाय सेक्शुअल कॉन्टैक्ट, एंड सेक्शुअल कॉन्टैक्ट होता है तो मीन्स we know that there are 2 partners which are involved. So if one partner is infected and other one is healthy, so this disease, they will spread, they will transmit from the infected person to the other person. So these kind of diseases are called STDs, right? The diseases which are spread by sexual contact with an infected person, they are called सेक्शुअल ट्रांसमिटेड डिजीजेज, एंड दे आर एक्वायर्ड डिजीजेज. आपको बाय बर्थ तो नहीं मिल सकती हैं, बिकॉज दैट इज विद द सेक्शुअल कॉन्टैक्ट, दे कम थ्रू सेक्शुअल कॉन्टैक्ट, राइट? सो दैट इज वाई दे आर एक्वायर्ड. We get them after the birth. They affect the reproductive system of the person, because when we talk about the sexual contact, so it means your reproductive structures, they are involved. So definitely they affect the reproductive system of the person. I hope definition is clear to each and every one of you, that those diseases which are spreading by the, or which spread by the sexual contact with the infected person, they are called sexually transmitted diseases. Now the important ones, because our second part is we have to give the examples. Now there are the few diseases which their causative organism is bacteria, few diseases with which their organism is virus, and there is one disease in which there is the protozoa which is involved. So I'm going to talk about first bacterial diseases. So if in the exam you are asked about to mention any bacteria disease, you can mention gonorrhea, you can mention syphilis, you can mention chlamydiasis. Now listen to me very carefully. Chlamydiasis, gonorrhea, syphilis, these are 3 sexual transmitted diseases जो कि किसकी वजह से होती हैं? बैक्टीरिया की वजह से होती हैं. सो क्लाइमीडियासिस, अगेन आई एम जस्ट लुक देयर नेम, क्लाइमीडियासिस, gonorrhea, syphilis. Mostly they ask for 2. So gonorrhea and syphilis is the best one to give the examples. Neisseria gonorrhoeae, it is the causative bacteria, it is the causative organism in case of which cause the gonorrhea. Syphilis, ट्रैपोनीमा पैलिडियम बहुत रेयर होता है when they ask for the causative organism, but sometimes this happens that like they ask that give one example of bacterial disease and write the causative organism. So we should know them. So gonorrhea, Neisseria gonorrhoeae, and syphilis, Treponema pallidum. That is the most common ones I have taken for you. Chlamydiasis, that is the Chlamydia trachomatis. Chlamydia trachomatis. These three, they are those sexual transmitted diseases जिनमें causative organism क्या है, cause करने वाला organism क्या है, it is the bacteria, chlamydiasis, gonorrhea and syphilis. Now there is the another one which is because of the virus, right? Hepatitis B, genital herpes, genital warts and AIDS, राइट. हेपेटाइटिस बी और एड्स आपने बहुत बार सुना है. जेनिटल हर्पिस एंड वॉट्स, दे आर ऑल्सो सेक्शुअल ट्रांसमिटेड डिजीजेज विच आर कॉज्ड बाय virus. Hepatitis B is very easy. That is the hepatitis B virus only. It is a double stranded DNA virus. AIDS, it is a single stranded virus, but the virus name is human immunodeficiency virus, जो कि आपका HIV है. Genital herpes, it is causative organism is, you can write down here that causative organism, right? This one is the causative organism जो इसको cause करता है, and these are our STDs. So causative organism here is herpes simplex virus, and in warts, human papilloma virus, HPV. These are the viral diseases 4th, 5th, 6th and 8th. Trichomiasis, it is caused by protozoa, and the protozoa name is Trichomonas vaginalis. But usually अभी तक जो आपको पूछा जाता है that is about the bacteria and the virus. So bacteria is clear, gonorrhea, syphilis, chlamydiasis, and virus you can mention hepatitis, genital herpes, genital warts and the AIDS. AIDS तो मुझे लगता नहीं है कि किसी को भी इवन रट्टा लगाने की ज़रूरत है. नो, यू नो अबाउट एड्स. दैट इज द एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनोडेफिशिएंसी सिंड्रोम. इवन इन द 9th class we talked about the hepatitis B also, hepatitis B virus, right? Genital herpes, very simplex virus, herpes simplex virus, and warts, that is the human papilloma virus. Trichomiasis is because of the protozoa, right? So these are the few examples of sexual transmitted disease which should be known to you. Now comes the, please draw this table carefully, and you can paste it on your door at your home, so that whenever you are coming in your room or going outside, just give a look to them, so that it will be easy for you to memorize it. Next is the third, what was the third part? That explain one of them. So we have, because in our syllabus we have AIDS in detail, so I am going to take it. That is the AIDS is, what is the full form of AIDS? Acquired, A for acquired, I for immuno, right? And D for deficiency, S for syndrome. So it is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is very clear to us that who is the causative organism? That is the virus. What is the name of the virus? HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, right? Human immunodeficiency virus. It is a very very fast spreading incurable disease. इतना easy से ये cure नहीं होती है, and it is very fast spreading one. As you just look at its name, ह्यूमन इम्यूनोडेफिशिएंसी वायरस, ये वायरस सीधा आपके इम्यून सिस्टम पे अटैक करता है. इट कम्स थ्रू द रिप्रोडक्टिव स्ट्रक्चर्स एंड देन एंटर इनटू द इम्यून सिस्टम सेल्स एंड स्टार्ट देन weakening the immune system of the body. So 3 things. Virus is clear, that is HIV, very fast spreading virus and weakens the immune system of the body. The main symptoms which are observed if a person is suffering from HIV virus: it damage to the brain, it cause damage to the brain, there is no specific reason for the fever is a common because immune system weak हो गया है, immune system weak हो गया है, तो means the fight you are very very much now prone to the infection, बहुत easily आपकी body infected होती रहती है. So unexplained, कोई particular cause नहीं है, fever आता रहता है, भूख बिल्कुल चली जाती है, loss of appetite, and suddenly in a very very less period of time a individual lost its weight. Very very severe diarrhea is observed in this case. Severe, severe, severe diarrhea, cough, weakness, because body is very much immune system is getting weak, so weakness is very common symptom in this HIV. So the most characterized feature is the damage to brain, unexplained fever, loss of appetite, loss of weight, diarrhea, cough, as well as the weakness. Then shortness of shortness of breath, right, and night sweats. These are the some common symptoms of our AIDS, right? Damage to brain, unexplained fever, loss of appetite, loss of weight, severe diarrhea, cough. So these are the symptoms from the AIDS. So next one is the spread, how this virus is spreaded or transmitted from one person to the, from infected person to the healthy person. So one is the, because it is a sexual transmitted disease, so unprotected sex with the infected partner. If the two, because we know that in the sexual intercourse two partners they are involved, and if one is infected and their couple is using unprotected they are involved in unprotected sex, then it can be transmitted infected person to the healthy person. Then is the use of contaminated needles. Even in the hospitals, if the doctor or the nurse they are not taking care about the use of needles, that if by accidentally the needle is used from the infected to the healthy body, then this virus can be transferred. Use of contaminated razors for shaving, because this transmission is basically through the fluids, as you can see that through the blood, through the fluids. So contaminated razors if you use for shaving, and contaminated razor means if that razor is used by the infected person or the person जो पहले से ही HIV से infected है उसका आप use कर रहे हो, then definitely this virus will travel in you. Then transfusion, अगर blood bank में there is a no they are not taking care of the proper screening of blood, proper checking of blood is not done, and if that infected blood, HIV infected blood is transfused to the healthy body, then definitely this virus will travel to the healthy body. So unprotected sex, use of contaminated needles and syringes, use of contaminated razors for shaving, and transfusion of infected blood. These are the main transmission methods. So as you can see, that is the unprotected sex, sharing needles with the infected person, and also the most important, that is the transmission from infected mother to the fetus. That is also one of the important transmission point. Infected from blood, if the infected blood is transfused, is transmitted, or basically transfused to the healthy body, right, then it can be traveled from the infected to the healthy person. December 1, this is sometimes comes in MCQs, that December 1 is celebrated every year as the World AIDS Day, because it is very important to spread information about AIDS among the public. There is no permanent cure for this, so that is why December 1 is celebrated every year as the World AIDS Day. Now the how you can management, what is the management, how you can avoid of AIDS and other STDs. First, because these are the sexual transmitted diseases, so avoid multi-partner sex. Screening, because we said that the when during the time of blood transfusion, so जो individual is giving the blood, उसको हम क्या बोलते हैं, donor. So the donor's blood should be screened, should be checked properly. Education, people should be properly giving the education about that, what are the chances, what are the reasons that how these sexual transmitted diseases can be spread, right? Especially those like the adults, or you can say adolescents group, the educating them with the proper knowledge is very very important, right? Screening the test for the donor groups, avoid multi-partner sex, these are the main points for stopping the transmission of sexual transmitted diseases. So you can write down about that use of condoms, definitely when they are the two partners, they are involved in the intercourse or sex, use of condoms, that is the protected sex. Avoid use of used needles. Do not ever try to use the already used needles and the drugs. Intake of nutritious food, because this virus directly affect our immune system. So intake of nutritious food to boost, to take care of the immunity, so that immunity can be strong, that has to be done. If a mother who is infected, avoid breastfeeding. It should not feed the baby, because it also transmitted through the lactation period from the mother who is feeding the baby. So infected mother has to stop, has to avoid breastfeeding. Avoid intercourse with multiple partners, sex workers, and addicted drug users, because you never know that who one is infected. It can be easily transmitted to the body of healthy body. During pregnancy, infected mother can reduce the risk of transmitting virus to the baby by keeping herself healthy, by boosting immunity, right? Immunity has to be very very important point to be taken care of. So let's revise quickly. Use of protected sex, right? Basically use of condoms. Avoid uses of used needles, or you can also write down that the infected needles, never ever use infected needles. Always take intake of nutritious food. A mother who is infected, she should avoid breastfeeding, avoid intercourse with the multiple partners, sex workers, and especially the infected individuals. During pregnancy, if the mother is infected, she should take care of her health very very well. So this was our complete information from this chapter, which is we call as the how do organisms reproduce. Best for your midterm examination. Take care and study.